So after Pretty Deadly won the match, uh, they went to commercial, and after the commercial, Pretty Deadly were still in the ring with a 5 minute celebration. Kevy and Sammy,
Kevy.
Kevin, Kevy Owens and Sami Zayn, they interrupted Pretty Deadly's 5 minute celebration. Uh, it was pretty funny. Pretty Deadly claimed to beat five other teams. Uh, and yeah, Kevy and Sammy, they were basically saying you shouldn't be doing a 5 minute celebration. Leave.
Get
It was honestly, it was
get out
kind
of
of
my ring.
awkward. It was kind of awkward. I don't know what it was. There's something off about that. About like Sammy's delivery or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, did you notice that too, or am I just being
A
stupid?
little bit. A little bit. I noticed it a little bit though.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Basically, Kevin and Sammy, they had a funny moment, and they were like, I think Sammy was like, "What do you want to do, Kevin?" And Kevin was like, "Well, I'm trying to, you've been warning me about my blood pressure, and I need
Still
to
trying to
take
stay
care of it."
calm.
And then all of a sudden, he starts screaming like, "Yes, let's go get him! They need to die! We need to beat them up! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!" And then they ran
And they
down,
run.
about to beat up Pretty Deadly, and then Pretty Deadly run out of the ring, and they're gonna have to take a they're gonna have to take a rain check on that ass whooping.
Until next week, because they announced that the undisputed tag team title match will be next week on Smackdown
Oh yeah,
between Pretty Deadly and Sammy. Oh yeah, Sammy,
Sammy and
Sammy
Kevy.
and Kevy, and
Oh
Kevy
yeah,
Owens.
Kevy Owens. Oh yeah. So yeah, that was the. I forgot to mention it was the number one contender match for the championships. Uh, so yeah, it was, and Pretty Deadly versus Kevy and Sammy next week. And we have two people who are going to be in the Money in the Bank match. They had a match next, Zelina versus Io Sky. It wasn't a really long match, which in
Oh
turn
no,
made it not a really good match. I didn't really care for it a lot. And I really do like Zelina and Io, so it was a little kind of disappointing. The animosity between Io and Bailey is real, though.
yeah.
Bailey was trying to help Io, and she distracted the ref while Io had the pin. She did that on accident, I'm guessing, and then Io got frustrated, and she got hit with the 619 by Zelina, and Zelina wins. All thanks to Bailey. So they're definitely setting up for a split in the near future between Io and Bailey. I'm very excited for that.
And we'll see later on that they build up even more animosity. We'll get to that in a second though.
Yeah, we then go to the Bloodline locker room where Roman Reigns tells Heyman to go talk to Jay. And yeah, Heyman went to talk to Jay. It didn't really work out too well.
Jay
Well,
repeated
but that's
himself
later
like
on.
he said last week. He said, I still don't understand what you're trying to do here because if I'm in the bloodline, then you out.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really understand what he means by that. If he's in the Bloodline, if he becomes the tribal chief, then Heyman's
Chief,
out.
what he means is when he takes over, that I don't know.
That Heyman's
I
out.
I
I don't
always
know. It's
thought
weird.
if he becomes tribal chief, that Roman will still be in the bloodline, but he will take over, and so Roman won't be his wise man, I guess. Or he plans on taking out Paul Heyman if he stays in the bloodline.
Right. Uh,
One or the other, I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. Either way, it's set up for the later on main event, which is will Jey Uso return to the Bloodline. But up next, Bianca. She went up to Adam Pearce, and she's still frustrated over Charlotte Flair coming back and challenging Asuka out of nowhere. So she's saying she's gonna get her shot her way and not the right way. So I like that. I like to see this little
they're
edge to
teasing a heel
Bianca.
turn. Yeah, they're teasing a possible heel turn in the
Oh,
future.
I don't know if they're gonna
But
turn Bianca
no,
heel.
I'm not talking about like near future. I just mean with adding this little bit of edge, they're teasing that they could turn her heel sometime in the future. Because we haven't really seen much of
I
an
don't
edge
know.
from Bianca.
She's more of a John Cena figure. I don't think she would be heel. But then again, Becky kind of
I don't
was,
know.
so I'm not sure. Uh, well, up next we did have that animosity between Bailey and Io build up even more because Damage Control were shown arguing, and Shotzi came in the picture and she said that she's not in the Money in the Bank match because of Bailey, and Bailey told her, "You're not in Damage Control. You're not good. You don't deserve to be in there." Shotzi challenged Bailey to a Money in the Bank qualifying match, and Io accepted it for her. And Bailey said, "What'd you do that for?" And Io says, "I was just trying to help."
I love Io Sky.
She says it like a
She
cute
cracks
little
me up.
kid. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, with the way she talks, yeah. Yeah. Her tone in which she
And
talks sounds like
yeah,
a little
it
kid
was
because she's
Bailey.
always like, I'm only trying to help.
Bailey's the one that said that in the beginning. I was just trying to help, so she got her
There's
little
definitely
payback.
animosity. Yeah.
And next week we're gonna have Shotzi and Bailey, and it's kind of weird that Io can just do that. I mean, doesn't she have to technically like sign something that she agrees to this match, or?
No, not really.
Well, I mean,
It's
like, the
WWE,
contract
anything can
signings.
happen.
Yeah, well,
No, I guess it doesn't matter.
I'm talking about in real. Like, I don't think she can do that. But anyway, either way, Io accepts it for her. It's kind of funny. The Grayson Waller effect was up next, and I like Grayson Waller. This was a weird fucking Grayson Waller effect though, because it seems like Grayson Waller is not in, like, I'm not talking about character wise. It seems like he's legitimately nervous. Like he's nervous to be around Charlotte Flair. Or he was nervous, well, not necessarily nervous against AJ because he's used to AJ maybe. I don't know, it's speculation on my part, but it kind of looked like that, and how I perceive it is how I'm going to give my opinion about it.
It
So I
almost
thought it was
seemed
weird.
like in kayfabe that he was attracted to her and he liked her.
Right.
In
Yeah.
kayfabe.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just being stupid, but yeah, Grayson brings up Charlotte's possible 15th title reign, which, obviously people have to understand that she's at that point, but you kind of forget sometimes. That was a good reminder that, oh my God,
She could
Charlotte
beat
probably
her dad's
has,
record.
Charlotte, she's been wrestling since, on the main roster since like 2015,
Something
2016,
like that, yeah.
something like that. You know, I'm sure she's like maybe late 30s, mid to late 30s. I would be surprised if she's older than that. She still has a lot of time left, and because she is put in the title picture so often, because she is honestly one of the biggest stars.
She is actually almost 40.
Yeah, mid to late 30s. I'm
Yeah,
not
she's
surprised.
37.
So she still has some time. So she could legitimately be a 19-time women's champion. That is not an unrealistic figure, and that's not even like going to the top peak limit that I think she could get to. I honestly think she should get,
Right.
or not should, but she could get to like 21.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
She's the
possible
kind of
15th title
person.
reign.
She's the kind of person that, like, could go until she's like 50 because she stays in such good shape.
Look at her dad.
Yeah, he wrestled until I think his mid 50s,
Well,
into his 60s actually.
he had his last match last
Technically.
year.
Yeah. He didn't
She
do
could do
much of
that.
anything though.
Well, that doesn't matter. She could do that.
True.
I don't want her to because that'd be stupid. But anyway, yeah. Bianca came out, which was, Charlotte versus Bianca, just a good face-off, and I like that they're having it kind of seems like they're going to set up a triple threat match, which obviously women's triple threat matches are some of the best women's matches that you get.
Yeah.
So Bianca came out. Charlotte says, "I'm a champion without the belt," and she said, "Are you a champion without the belt?" Which,
No.
she doesn't mean that she is the champion no matter if she has the belt or anything. Like, she's that woman.
She's a top.
She carries
She's
herself
atop
like the
the women's.
champion.
Yeah, she's atop the women's division, no matter if she has a belt or not.
Bianca says, "Put some respect on my name. I'm the longest reigning champion in the modern era. The longest reigning women's champion. And I didn't have to do it 14 times." And she did a mic drop, and Bianca's music plays, which automatically she won the promo. So that's pretty cool. Mic drop
Yeah.
on Charlotte Flair. Not a lot of women get that. And then next you did have the Heyman, the segment I was talking about before. Roman told Heyman to go talk to him. This next segment actually did have Heyman to go talk to Jay, which we already talked about. So next we had AJ Styles and Mi Shin versus Mr. and Mrs. Evil, which are Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Um, so it wasn't a super long match. Maybe, what do you think? 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I would say about 10 minutes.
I mean
It
yeah,
wasn't super long.
I like this spot because AJ and Karrion, first of all, this is a good rivalry, especially to set up Karrion and having AJ be in that main event picture. He's in the mid card right now, but he did just get out of the World Championship match with Rollins, so this does feel more like a main event picture. This would be for the World Championship if Roman wasn't the champion. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
probably.
So I know AJ was smacked by Scarlett. I don't remember a lot of this match. It wasn't really super exciting. Uh, I do like the idea of this mixed tag match because it gives Michin some experience and Scarlett as well, plus Karrion and AJ's rivalry. And honestly, I just want to see AJ versus Karrion in a good 20-minute pay-per-view match.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That's all I'm asking of this rivalry because it would be. I don't know if you have AJ win because if you have
It would
Karrion
depend
win,
on where.
if you have Karrion win, it's not like his star power really gets raised. Maybe it will a little bit, but it would more than likely probably drop AJ's.
Hmm.
Obviously, we know that AJ is one of the best wrestlers in WWE, but at the same time, Karrion has been getting, since his McIntyre feud, basically not necessarily buried, but he hasn't been winning. He's a mid card dude. He's not main event player right now. So
Right.
I don't know. We would just have to see how it works out. But this match was okay. AJ was smacked by Scarlett. And then after that, Scarlett was pulled out of the ring by Michin. And then off of that distraction, AJ got caught with the cross jacket, and Karrion and Mr. and Mrs. Evil, Scarlett and Karrion win the match, which is
Yep.
decent. Fine.
Yeah.
Don't really care. So after this, we had another promo in the Bloodline room. Roman says, Heyman's
I
basically
love
in
this
that room.
segment.
Roman says, "Well," and Heyman shakes his head, and then Solo he walks towards Heyman and scares Heyman away. He's like, "Ah!" running away.
So yeah, Paul Heyman's like, "I'm sorry, my tribal chief. I tried." And then you get Solo, who walks up on Paul Heyman, like you said, and you hear Paul Heyman go, "Ah, ah." He sounded like a little kid. He was like, "Ah, ah," and then runs off. And then you hear Solo say, he said, would you like me to take care of the business, my tribal chief? And Roman says, Solo, don't get ahead of yourself. We still got time.
I like that Solo. He
Or
said
so he
whatever you
thinks.
say. He said whatever you say. It's kind of like he's gonna follow Roman, but he's not really sure of Roman's strategy at this moment.
Yeah.
So next we had Grimes. He was set for an interview, and he basically was asked by Kayla, "How are you getting adjusted?" And he was about to start, and Corbin comes and destroys him. What they're doing with Corbin is perfect. They took him down to NXT. They don't have to have him stay in NXT specifically. He is a free agent.
Yeah.
What they're doing with him in NXT and SmackDown feels right. It feels like they're giving his character another rejuvenation. He can,
Yeah.
work with this. He's been working with it. He's just this. He's become this devastating dude who's going to shock the system. He's going to fight anybody. I mean, that's what he's been doing. He goes after Carmelo Hayes
Yeah.
down under, and then you have You have Trick Williams in there as well, who had a match against Corbin, and then Corbin is getting beat up by Grimes one week, and then who did he lose to last week?
What do you mean?
He lost in a Money in the Bank qualifying match, I'm pretty sure, on SmackDown last week. And Grimes came after him after the match or something.
I think it was Butch.
Yeah, it was Butch. He lost to Butch, so he's been having some good matches. Well, not really. Like, I didn't watch the Trick William match, so I'm not sure about that one.
He had a #1 contenders match with Ilya Dragunov. I know that.
Ooh,
Last
okay, yeah.
last
He's
week on NXT.
he kind of feels like the lone wolf. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a good little segment. Rey Mysterio, he came out next and announced Santos, and it's good to see Rey Mysterio actually out in the ring. He hasn't been having a lot of matches more
Yeah.
recently since he did get his Hall of Fame induction and everything like that. So that was it was cool to see him again out in the ring. He announced Santos, who's going to win the Money in the Bank, is what Ray said. Uh, Santos said he was fighting for everyone around the world and for his family, and he told Ray that he loved him, which was a nice little thing to do. And LA
Yeah.
Knight, who is Santos's opponent, he came out next and he got in the ring and he pushed Rey Mysterio, and that got the crowd booing. Even though LA Knight is completely over right now, he got the crowd booing right there. And LA Knight, he fought Santos next after the commercial break. Santos, there wasn't a lot that happened in this match. It wasn't a really
Mm-mm.
long match. Santos rolled up LA Knight after LA tried to cheat with the roll up and holding the ropes like he beat. That's how he beat
Montez.
Montez. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he tried that against Santos. It didn't work out for him. And after the match, LA beat down on Santos. And Ray came out and tried to save, but LA Knight was standing out on top. But Santos
Yeah.
did win the match. So it was. I think it was a good way to make both of them look strong, especially before the Money in the Bank match. I'm sure next week they'll have like another segment with all the Money in the Bank participants.
Probably. Like they usually do.
Yeah.
Wonder if they'll do what they usually do with them, with making like a 6-man tag team match.
Well, then again, three of them are on Raw, three of them are on SmackDown.
That don't matter.
I should,
No, I'm just kidding.
according
They'll
to Triple
probably
H.
it probably will be what you say. What you said. It'll probably be confrontation of everyone.
Yeah. So next we had Jay. He was walking backstage and he walked past Sami Zayn and there wasn't any words that needed to be said. And Sami walked the other way, and then it was funny to hear the entire crowd in the background chanting "Ooh see, ooh see, ooh see, ooh see, ooh see." It was awesome. So yeah, then you had Jay go out there after Roman and Solo and everybody. It was Jay Uso out there. Roman was basically telling him. Well, first of all, Roman got acknowledged by. Uh, I don't remember where they were, but by the universe. Um, so Jay Uso, he came out and Roman basically told him, "Look, I'm setting you up to be the next tribal chief. You know, you'll get championship shots and you'll get everything you want and everything like that." And then after they were talking for a little while, Jimmy Uso comes out. All you hear is "yo yo yo" over the microphone, and then the entire crowd cheers. These dudes are on top of the on top of WWE right now. There's nothing stopping
Mm-hmm.
them. It I love this bloodline story. It's the best. So Jimmy came out and he was telling Jay that the problem isn't me. It's not your brother. It's your cousin. It's our cousin. Uh, he told Jay that Roman he's gonna manipulate you. He's gonna use you. He's gonna do everything he's been doing. And Jay, surprisingly, he starts going at Jimmy, saying oh, you're a top athlete in school, most likely to succeed, which was a little weird.
And he said, "Look up
Listen
to
to your
you,
big brother.
big brother Joshua. Make sure you follow in his footsteps, Joshua."
It is weird to think of them, of Jimmy as Jay's big brother because they are twins.
Yeah.
So I thought that was weird while watching that, but either way,
Yeah.
that's just a fake out because Jay is like, yeah, uh, yeah, you suck, you suck, you suck.
He's
Super kick to Roman. Oh my god.
you gotta follow the whole segment. So yeah, you have that, and then it's like, while you were out with injury, I think that was for me a blessing in disguise because I was able to step into my next role as the right hand man, becoming main event Jey Uso, and it's all because of him. And he points to Roman, and then next thing you know, you hear Jay say, "So guess what? You out." And everybody's like, "Oh no,
And
oh
so am I.
no." And then, hold on. And then you get like a
And
five
so am
second
I.
break. And then you hear, "And I am too." Bah! And the crowd's just like, "Ah!" And then as that happens, they go to walk out. Well, they don't go to walk out. Solo looks down at what happened and then looks back at the Usos, tries to go after the Usos, double super kick. And then they try to leave, and then Roman starts yelling at him, gets up, and they just turn around. Double super kick to Roman.
And that was
And
the
Paul
first.
left. Literally, Paul left after the first super kick. He was like, "Oh no." He's over there crying. I'm like, this storyline just keeps getting better and better.
That was the first double super kick by the Usos to Roman Reigns. That was, yeah, buddy. That was the best. That was the emphatic, like, yeah, we're done. Yeah, buddy. AEW. 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 So, starting off with AEW Dynamite, we got Adam Cole taking on MJF. World Championship on the line. Oh my god, this was the best match of the week. There's no doubt about it. It the storytelling between these two. I mean, obviously you have MJF. He's been one of the best wrestlers, and probably the best wrestler in AEW when it comes to in-ring ability, on the mic ability, just getting you to feel, getting you to buy in to his matches, and just his overall controversial nature. MJF is, yeah, he's the best in AEW right now. And Adam Cole, you don't even have to say any words for Adam Cole. Some cool spots were MJF teasing the Sweet Chin music because he brought up last week that, Adam Cole was like a hand-picked pupil of Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels thought he was the guy. Uh, yeah, he went for that Sweet Chin music on Adam Cole, and I bet he wish he didn't because he got kicked in the mouth with a super kick by Cole, and you just look over and MJF has a bloody mouth, and that was a good spot. That was unexpected.
He was spitting up blood.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You
There's a
you
nice,
just see MJF's eyes get all big, and he's like,
yeah.
"Puh, puh," spitting up blood. I'm like, dang, bruh, he got rocked.
There was a nice exchange with Adam's super kicks, followed up by a crazy lariat by MJF. I mean, there was a great Fujiwara armband. What the fuck is
Armband.
that? Wow. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. Armband. Why does that say
Armbar.
armband? It was a great Fujiwara armbar into the rings of Saturn. Uh, then an elbow drop from the top rope to the table, the timekeeper's table, on to Adam Cole by MJF. Really, really awesome. They were out. Adam Cole, he faked the 10 count. He went into the ring at 9. Yeah, it was Adam making the count, even though it wasn't surprising because it's been done 100 times. It's done 100 times every week in the big matches.
Yeah.
Even though he made the count, MJF's face was priceless. It was really funny. The ref gets knocked down by MJF. or he gets knocked down, and then MJF grabs the belt. He tries to pull the Eddie Guerrero spot, and then just as it looks like the ref is about to get up, he doesn't turn around and he falls back down, and MJF looks at him like, oh no. He just gave Adam Cole the belt, and he gets hit with that belt straight in the face by Adam Cole. And there was a last shot, and the referee started counting.
1,
It was the
2.
slowest.
Ding, 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 ding.
Dude, the slowest fucking count ever. Adam Cole should have won. Oh my god.
It goes to a 30-minute draw.
MJF, he hit a low blow on Adam Cole, and then he grabbed the Dynamite ring. The ref tried to stop him from using the ring, and then Panama
He
Sunrise.
did stop him.
Well, yeah, the ref stopped him from using the ring, and then the Panama Sunrise, the last shot. 1, 2, ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh my god. Right before he got to the 3 count.
Has reached its 30-minute
Right
time
before he got to
limit.
the 3 count.
And then you have this cool callback spot to, it was Danielson versus who? Like recently. Danielson versus, was it Omega?
Oh, I don't know.
Or was it? You were talking about it when we talked about it initially.
You might be talking about Danielson and
Page.
Hangman.
Was it Page? Yeah. And which was even an earlier callback to ECW days. I think it was RVD versus Jerry Lynn. It might have been somebody else. So basically, Adam Cole grabs a mic. They recall to Danielson and Page, as well as ECW days with Jerry Lynn, I think RVD. It might have been somebody else. I don't remember who the other person was. And he grabs the mic, gets in MJF's face, and he's like, 5 more minutes. MJF just looks at him, thinks about it. He rolls out of the ring. He leaves.
It was so bullshit.
Ultimate heel work by MJF.
I don't think that Hangman and Danielson did that. I'm not sure, though.
I know for sure it was done in ECW, because I remember watching it.
Either way, it was a great spot, and yeah, MJF walked away. I was heartbroken.
I don't know if it was this Dynamite or before, but MJF got announced for a match at Forbidden Door against...
No, it was this week.
Was that this week? Tanahashi?
Yeah.
Yeah. He got announced for a match against Tanahashi.
That's later.
Sorry, a lot happened.
Bro. Anyway.
Was that later in the Dynamite? I thought that was right after his match.
No.
Oh.
You had CM Punk hype next, because he's coming back. Yay. Sammy Guevara returned next. Sammy Guevara. I mean, he was gone. He's been gone since Double or Nothing, since the Fatal 4-Way for the World Championship. Yeah, he's made his return. He's being interviewed. He's just talking about his kid. Yeah, we're having a girl. Yay, yay. Anyway,
Yay.
Darby Allin, he came out, and I already love the idea of Allin versus Guevara, especially for a number one contenders rivalry for the belt, because you have to know, maybe MJF will have some World Championship opponents, but the main rivalry that should happen should either be Guevara or Allin, and I think whoever wins between these two, I'm not talking about the match that they announced, but I'm talking about an actual rivalry. Whoever wins should fight MJF, and maybe even take the belt from him. I'm not sure, but I love the idea of this rivalry. Yeah, Allin calls out the JAS and says it's stupid. His group isn't called the Sting Appreciation Society, and then you said his name, so here comes Jericho, and just seeing Jericho and Darby Allin, they had matches, and I think they had a match in 2019 for the championship. I remember that being a good match. But seeing this current Chris Jericho, this 50-year-old Jericho he's not world champion. He's far away from world championship right now. He's just been doing his own thing, and it kind of seems like he seems like such a bigger star than Darby Allin. It seems like Darby's still that up and
Yeah.
coming dude. So it was kind of cool to see them stand off. I don't know. I know they've had a match and that they both know what they can do, but it's still that element of like, what will happen? So yeah, that was pretty cool. Jericho tells Allin to shut up, and then Jericho goes up to Sammy and he says he's stupid for not asking for help against MJF, and that he would be world champion if he would have asked for his help. Jericho tells Sammy to apologize, and Guevara says he won't. And yeah, there was a lot of animosity between Jericho and one of the members of his appreciation society. And Jericho says, you know, to teach you a lesson, I think Lay Sex God needs to have a match next week. And I like how that's his first solution. I
That's how you fix
I thought it
everything.
was
Just
really
have a
funny.
tag team match.
Yeah, yeah, Allen came up right in Jericho's face and said, "Well, maybe Allen and Sting can fight Jericho and Guevara," and that isn't announced for later on. And then Sting comes out, and just how you seen Darby like kind of stargazing at Jericho because he's one of his. I mean, he
Yeah.
watched him wrestle growing up. You kind of have that with Sting and Jericho as well. They've never had a match. They've never confronted. So yeah, that's Sting and Jericho. That's kind of like a dream match. Allen and Sting versus Jericho and Guevara. And there was something next that was really cool. Sonata, which I have not seen any of Sonata. I have not watched any of it. I don't watch New Japan. Uh, he announced an open challenge at Forbidden Door for the New Japan World Heavyweight Championship, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which obviously. So Sonata put out an open challenge, and as we'll later find out, Jungle Boy will be the one to accept it. Jungle Boy versus Sonata at Forbidden Door for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Um, Jungle Boy was not the person I was expecting to go after Sonata.
I still think it's a good choice either way, though. Think it'll be a
Yeah,
good match.
yeah, it'll
Gives
definitely be a good
it'll
match.
give Jungle Boy some seriously good exposure. Like seriously good exposure in this match.
So
I
up
think it'll be
next,
great for him.
we actually had Mogul Embassy taking on Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, and Darby Allin and Sting. 4 versus 4. That Mogul Embassy is obviously Brian Cage, Swerve Strickland, and those two other big dudes. I don't know their names. Um,
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't remember.
the first thing I wanted to say during this match is it just felt like a war. It was actually it was very exciting to watch. Brian Cage
Oh
was
yeah,
even in
for
face
sure.
paint, so it kind of felt like a big deal with Brian Cage in face paint and kind of like a War Games esque type of feel.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, yeah, this entire Dynamite was a huge Dynamite. Um,
Oh yeah. This whole week of AEW was huge. Wasn't even
yeah,
just Dynamite.
I mean this Dynamite had the World Heavyweight Championship on the line, the Women's Heavyweight Championship on the line.
Yeah.
That Wardlow, he defended his TNT Championship against Jake Hager. I mean, it was a pretty big one.
Oh yeah.
But back to this match. There was one moment where I think they went for a monkey flip on Keith Lee, and obviously you know the spot. Keith Lee is supposed to land on his feet, and he couldn't land on his feet, so that sucked. Swerve Strickland, he went for the pay dirt on Keith Lee, and obviously the history between Lee and Strickland, you kind of just seen in one shot. Keith Lee stopped him from doing the pay dirt maneuver, and he just looked at him, and you could feel the animosity, you could feel the hate. It
Yeah.
was yeah, and then the entire Mogul Embassy murdered Keith Lee with a huge like power bomb with uh, the double foot stomp from Swerve Strickland. Murder him.
Yeah.
The death drop. Yes.
I wasn't I wasn't expecting the death drop from. I wasn't expecting Sting to get the pin in this one, but I think it's still cool,
Dude, the
especially to
Scorpion
get it
Death Drop.
especially against somebody like Brian Cage.
Yeah, he did pin Brian Cage, didn't he?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was funny. Dustin on the outside was like a little kid for Keith Lee. He obviously manages Keith Lee, and he's just out there having fun, which is just great to see. So yeah, they Mogul Embassy lose, which it's always weird for me seeing like a
Big
three-way
team.
stable lose, especially in a
Yeah.
specialty match that they are a part of, like Imperium. If Gunther, Kaiser, and Giovanni lose to like, I mean, yeah, I know they have lost, and it's been kind of stupid. I just don't understand having the actual faction lose, but in this case, I do understand it. And obviously, seeing Sting hit the Scorpion Death Drop for the victory was great, just great. So up next we had the Ass Boys. The Ass Boys, they had an interview and they were asked about their relationship with Jay White, and they don't really focus on that. What they actually want to talk about is Guns versus Hardys. Who are the best brothers in AEW? Who's the best brother tag team? Brother, brother. The Ass Boys call out the Hardys, and I really like the idea of this match.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the Ass Boys.
But
Um,
I'm a huge fan of the Hardys. So, but either
yeah, we
way, just
are.
seeing the Hardys in a match like that,
Yeah.
it's gonna be nice.
Oh yeah. So like I said earlier, Wardlow versus Jake Hager. That was a match tonight. It's up next for the TNT Championship. This was a good match. Obviously, having these two dudes in the ring, it's gonna have sparks flying. They're two big dudes, can beat the hell out of each other. Plus, they
Oh
both
yeah.
have history with the Inner Circle. Wardlow was a part of it, and they were always like battling. This was their rubber match for the
Oh
TNT
yeah.
Championship. Jake has
I
won
forgot about it
once
until
and
they said
Wardlow
something.
once. Yeah. Um, so Hager, he was sent over the top rope and he hit his face like face first off the steps. It was cool. A nice little spot.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is the rubber match. Um, the Jericho Stooges, they distracted Wardlow, or they tried to, and
It
what
didn't
happens
work.
to the Jericho Stooges is great because Arn and Brock Anderson, they come out and kick their ass basically. Uh,
Yeah.
and then Wardlow wins with the Powerbomb Symphony. I think it was three, but I'm not sure. Just so many power bombs. And then yeah, up on screen you seen Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, and it was pretty funny because there was no words coming out of their mouth. They were trying to talk, but the audio was messed up or something. So, but it kind of seemed like that little segment was gonna fail just because of them not being able to be heard, the
Yeah.
audio issues. But no, it was pretty much saved, especially when you look to the ground. The camera looks to Arn Anderson, who is a bloody mess. Christian Cage and
Yeah.
Luchasaurus kicked his
Who's like,
ass.
oh,
Yeah, it's that
he's a big old gash on his
that definitely
forehead,
saved
and
it.
he's just resting against the bars, sitting down. He's just like, oh.
It's once
I'm
again
like,
Christian
bruh,
Cage and Luchasaurus getting
y'all
under
just
the
bat,
skin.
y'all just battered like a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, yeah. They're really getting under Wardlow's skin. Uh, and up next, Tanahashi versus MJF announced for Forbidden Door. MJF says no. He says he won't be.
He
It's not
said,
gonna be the first time
I'm
I did a
sorry,
no
but
show.
no.
Won't be the first time he's done a no show. So I don't know that if that match happens, it's gonna be a great match. And I haven't watched a lot of Tanahashi, so I'm excited to watch that. And up next, Orange Cassidy. He gets interviewed by Renee, and Renee asks, "What's next?" And Orange says, "Well, I bet someone will walk in." And then Zack Sabre Jr. comes on screen, and then Daniel Garcia comes on screen, and Daniel asks about Shibata. He asks Orange Cassidy because I guess they're in the same faction. I don't know. Wrestling's complicated.
I don't know. I didn't know about it. Like I just remember them in the segment. Who was it? Oh, Zack Sabre Jr. confronts Orange Cassidy because during I think it was Double or Nothing, the post show interviews, I think, or during something, Orange Cassidy said something about like the one person he would love to challenge in New Japan would be, or with not New Japan, but outside of AEW would be Zack Sabre Jr. And so he brought that back up, and they started talking, and then uh, Daniel Garcia came up and he said, "Well, I deserve a rematch still from the last time when you said you were going to give me a rematch for the title." Uh, and he said, "Well, since you're both wanting to fight me, and I have my essentially I have my buddy, who's the guy that he's with again?
Shibata.
Shibata. He has his friend Shibata, and he said, why not just do a tag team match, and it would be me and Shibata versus you two.
He's
Sound
so
good? All right."
casually. He so casually
Yeah, he
challenged
was
them.
literally like, "You
They
don't want
didn't
to fight?
even.
Okay, yeah,
They didn't even challenge him first. He just said, "Well, how about you two versus me and Shibata next week?" That sounds like a plan.
yeah, okay." And then he
Yeah,
just
it was
walks
funny.
off. I'm like, and it's crazy because when I first started watching AEW, like Orange Cassidy barely even talked at all, and now he's like super vocal. It's weird to
Yeah.
me, anyway.
Well,
Like
now
he
he's one
was
of the top stars.
right, right, which I'm glad for it. I'm just like, it's weird hearing him talk more often now.
Yeah. So up next, like I said earlier, women's championship. This is a big Dynamite. Sky Blue will be taking on Tony Storm. Sky Blue won that Fatal 4-Way in on Rampage, so she gets this championship opportunity. I One thing I want to say is that it seems like Tony and Ruby Soho have really come into their element since getting into the Outcasts. I mean, they
I
both.
definitely agree.
I mean, especially Tony. She's the women's champion.
Yeah.
This has been kind of.
Now it,
If you compare this to her little run on Smackdown, even it's so much better. Uh,
right, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
it's even better than the NXT run. The NXT run
Right.
sucked. The NXT UK run was pretty good, but now this AEW run is possibly the best of her career so far. So it's really cool. And
And
Ruby's just they both seem comfortable.
yeah, initially, I don't know. I had my uh discretions about Ruby because I would be honest, she sucked at first. Like she did not look like she was comfortable like she is now.
Right.
She seemed out of her element. Like she didn't feel. It didn't look like she was comfortable with her promos, and that she wasn't comfortable in that scenario, being new to it. And now she's just going with emotions, following Tony, and it seems a lot better. Because I remember
Yeah.
initially I was like, I don't know. I don't know how long she's gonna last. And now I'm like, okay, she's made herself a significant person within the faction. So
So you have Sky Blue. She comes out and she gives her mom a hug. So obviously the first thing that Tony Storm does during the match is spray something in Sky Blue's mom's eyes. So that definitely won't go over well with Sky Blue. And she, uh, yeah, I haven't seen Sky Blue a lot, but I do like her. She definitely got her shit in against Tony. Tony went to
yeah,
spray
that's
Sky, and Sky
that's
sprays something else in Tony's face.
it was spray paint too. She had her own can of spray paint, and it was like whoosh. It was either that or pepper spray. But I'm pretty sure it was spray paint because there was stuff on Tony's. was like blue stuff on Tony's face. So I think it was another can of spray paint.
Yeah, so Tony ends up putting Sky Blue into the clover leaf and just really sits
Pulls
down
back
on
on
it.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
she wins the
She
match with
cinches
that.
in deep.
Yeah, it was a good match, decent match. Nothing entirely special, but it is a women's
I think
championship match on a
I think it was
Dynamite.
mainly
So
it was mainly not only to make Tony Storm look good, but to give
yeah,
Sky Blue some good exposure, because she's not somebody you see on regular programming. But like when I saw her match, the Fatal 4-Way, even though it was short and I wasn't a huge fan of it, the stuff she showed in that match, she looked really good. Like she showed that she could be a main event star
yeah,
eventually with time. Obviously not right now. She's still young though. I mean, I think they said she was 23, so she's
well,
got plenty of time to
after she
still grow.
lost, after she lost, Ruby and Tony beat up that main event star, beat her up, and then Willow Nightingale came out to help. And
Oh,
yeah, Willow Nightingale, I'm not really a huge fan of
oh,
because I haven't seen a
I
lot of hers, and she just
this
seems
is kind of contradictive
weird.
because I'm also this kind of person. I hate how bubbly she is. You can't take her seriously. She's way
Uh,
too bubbly.
yeah, I
Like
don't know. I'm not a huge fan.
it's one thing like to just have a small thing and then be like super aggressive in the ring, but like I can't take her seriously. Like her entrance, her character, everything is just it's too much, I think.
Yeah,
She doesn't show enough of a serious side for I feel like people to take her seriously.
right. Well, somebody that you should be taking seriously is Jungle Boy and Hook.
Always.
Hook
Especially Hook
is a monster, will kill you, and Jungle Boy, he's
is
he's a
Jungle
dude.
Boy.
He's there. Well, they have an interview, and Jungle Boy he accepts Sonata's open challenge first of all, and then he calls Hook his best friend, and he really wants Hook in his corner. Then they do a fist bump, which that was a nice little thing. Just called him his best friend. I didn't realize they were close like that. Wow. Uh, so we're getting Jungle Boy versus Sonata with Hook in Jungle Boy's corner, hopefully, I guess. And then you have Forbidden Door hype, which is just running down all the different matches, and then something that I wasn't, or I was pretty surprised about is that Miro is announced that he will return at Collision,
Yes,
and
sir.
yes, 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 1,000 times yes. That's all I'm gonna say. I want him to do good. Uh, then we had the main event, which was the BCC Blackpool Combat Club taking on the Hung Bucks, which is the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page. And Carry On My Wayward Son is probably one of the best entrances of
I
today.
agree.
Yeah, it's amazing. Moxley and Hangman, they go right at it. Um, dude, there was one spot in this match where the Young Bucks had Wheeler Yuta. They put him like on the apron, legs on the apron, and they were holding the rest of his body. And Hangman ran off the apron and did a shooting star press, and they murdered him. They
I
killed
think I
him.
remember that.
Dude, this is a
I
crazy
don't
match.
I don't remember if I remember the beginning part of that, but yeah.
So having the BCC fighting, you have Danielson on commentary, and Hangman is said to be the best by Tony Schiavone. Basically, he said there's nobody better than Hangman, and Danielson definitely disagreed with that. Also, you have the basic Danielson being disappointed in a Yuta or a Wheeler Yuta kick out. I called
Yeah.
him Yuta Wheeler. Wow, like that's his name. Anyway, there were explosions everywhere. Just this match, just kicking ass and killing people. This was basically that match. There were explosions everywhere, followed by a. There was a great bridge German by Yuta. I mean, it was just so perfect. I just thought I had to mention it. And then Moxley, he starts to elbow Matt Jackson. Claudio gets Hangman. They're about to do their spot at the end where they just beat the hell out of everybody, and then Nick Jackson, luckily for the Hung Bucks, is able to stop all the momentum. And then there's a super kick party, and then a BTE trigger, and then a buckshot lariat, all on Wheeler Yuta, and
I love
Yuta
that
does not
whole
kick out.
segment.
Yeah.
I love that segment where they did the the VTE trigger and then the buckshot lariat because it was just so fluid. It was just, and
My
then
first
Adam
thing,
Page said, "Oh
BCC should have won.
no, I disagree. I disagree. I think that was the right choice to have the Hung Bucks win, at least this time. I don't. I think it was good for them to get something like this. I think if you look at the ending, like Eddie Jackson, I said Eddie Jackson, Eddie Kingston coming back later on. Like if I guess it wouldn't have mattered either way, but still for them to come back, I think it's better because they're on the losing side of things, and Eddie Kingston just beats them up while they're down or
So,
confronts them.
yeah, so you had BTE, BTE trigger, buckshot lariat, Hung Bucks win. They're 1-1 against the BCC, so obviously Robert Match should be coming up. But let's talk about what happened afterwards. The BCC, they attack the Hung Bucks afterwards, and then Eddie Kingston comes out and he starts beating up on Claudio Castagnoli specifically, hits him with a spinning back fist, and then Moxley and Kingston, obviously all of that history between them, they look at each other and Mox doesn't want to hit Kingston and vice versa. And then the Young Bucks start beating up on Moxley, and Kingston pulls them off. And then Takeshita comes out of nowhere. He attacks Kingston and the Bucks, and then there's the crowd's just booing for Takeshita. And then Kenny Omega returns since the Elite versus BCC at Double or Nothing. There's a brawl from everyone. I mean, it's carnage everywhere. V trigger to Takeshita, and then Will Ospreay attacks Kenny Omega, because obviously you have the rivalry between Takeshita and Omega, but there's also the match with Ospreay and Omega, and yeah, Ospreay, he's basically the one standing at the end. Danielson, he's just laughing, and he says Ospreay is going to beat Omega, and then you see Don Callis clapping, and then Danielson's clapping, all for Will Ospreay. And then there's a score breaker on Omega by Ospreay. So yeah, there's wrestling everywhere. Please slow down. There were so many returns, announcements of returns. This Dynamite was crazy. Yeah,
AEW's like, yeah,
this
we're gonna
ending
throw everything.
segment.
They were like, we're gonna throw everything in your face all at once.
Yeah. So we're moving on to Rampage now. After an exciting Dynamite, there has to be a crazy Rampage, and they start off with Chaos versus United Empire.
That was a good match.
Yeah,
It was a really good
United
match.
Empire, as in Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, and
Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Cobb is just a monster.
He's a menace to
they're
society.
facing Chaos, as in Rocky Romero and the Best Friends. So it was a good match. Chris Jericho was on commentary, which is always great. There was a nice little spot where the Best Friends were about to do a double team move, which was a double elbow, and I think Trent grabbed Chuck's hand, shook his hand. Nice job, thank you, and then they did the elbow drop. I liked that little spot.
Yeah, I'm looking at Bleacher Report, and that's one of their notable moments and observations.
Yeah.
It says Beretta and Chuck Taylor complimenting each other in the middle of a double team move was hilarious.
Oh yeah. So you had Kyle Fletcher. He probably has one of the best brain busters I've ever seen. Jeff Cobb's awesome. He reminds me of Taz, honestly. He did an Olympic slam to both Chuck and Trent. I mean, he had Rocky
they were
up for a
doing
second.
they were doing a three-way hug, and the dude just snagged him up.
Yeah.
Did a German suplex.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You see what I mean by he reminds me of Taz? He's just this
Yeah,
short
and go
dude.
ahead.
He's this short
Yeah,
but stocky dude who can slam you every way.
yeah. I like what Bleacher Report said too. You said Taz, and they said that Jeff Cobb is the second coming of Rhino. Which honestly, I
Yeah,
agree more with the Rhino than I do. It's about the same, but I would say he's a
right.
little more like Rhino than Taz, just because
I
he's
think
more of a powerhouse.
he's like Rhino, but he's also a mat wrestler.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there was Olympic Slam to Chuck and Trent, and after he couldn't pick up Rocky as well, he just threw Rocky like across the ring. There's a near fall by Rocky to Osprey. So yeah, that was a near fall on Osprey was that was just good in general. Osprey was Tony. Tony on commentary said the Osprey is on another level, and he is. He just is. United Empire win, and then
He'll always be on another level.
yeah,
Like
United
his
Empire
fighting
winning
style
is
is just
the
like that.
United Empire winning is the right choice. Obviously, having Osprey in that match against Omega at Forbidden Door that's coming up. So yeah, nice match, nice win, and they
Yeah,
panned. And I was hearing the voices during the match of the commentators, but 4 commentators, that's a bit much, isn't it? Four
yeah.
commentators.
It
That's
depends. It
dude.
depends.
It used to be people complaining about 3, and now there's Jericho, Jim Ross, uh, Taz, and Excalibur. I think it was Taz, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. There's 4 commentators. I think that's crazy.
it is a little
Um,
bit crazy.
there's a squash match with Taya Valkyrie
I
taking
was
on
about to
Trish
say, do we
Adora.
even need to talk about that match? Because there
Um,
wasn't even much.
yeah, Trish had a good spot with some elbows, and she gets too excited.
And
Um,
then just gets absolutely destroyed from
yeah, and
there.
then she gets destroyed. So Taya Valkyrie wins. That's pretty cool. Then up next, the Hardys accept the Guns challenge, and they said 25 years ago we beat your daddy's ass, and now we'll beat yours. Isaiah Cassidy, he's kind of cringe.
It's a
In
little.
my opinion, he might find there's some people that I know find him funny, but I don't know. I think it's weird.
I do think it's weird.
Also,
Because
where's Mark Quinn?
I have no idea. And I honestly have no idea who you're talking about.
Mark Quinn is he's the other dude that was a part of Private Party with Isaiah Cassidy.
Yeah, I don't remember who that is.
He was I mean, I don't know. He was just the other member of Private Party.
Here, I'll look him up. You continue.
So yeah, Hardy's accepting the Guns challenge. That's going to be exciting. And
Oh, yeah.
what's super exciting is this 3-on-3 match. I don't think I'd ever would have seen a match like this in a top promotion. AEW is the promotion to do it if you're going to do it. Papa Briscoe and Mark Briscoe with Aubrey Edwards as well, taking on Jeff and Karen Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Yeah, this is pretty funny. Aubrey tried to lock up Karen, and Karen tagged out immediately.
Always.
Yeah, there was a nice spot. Throughout the entire match, Jericho was basically saying he didn't like Papa Briscoe. Papa Briscoe, what's he doing in there? And then as soon as Papa Briscoe just bulldozed through Jeff and Jay, and then he hit a spear to Jay, Jericho's like, Papa is my favorite wrestler of all time. Papa Briscoe, I didn't know he had moves like that.
Up in it, bitch, we tryna get higher. Put it back, I cooking it, rack me, eating that pack of bonus, stopper, holding it down, pull up in the primary rip, that just stop faking the cap. Yeah, killing the trapper, coming back, I'll break new loose, keep up in the track, I'm feeling the beachy, burning, healing, marking it, tie beam, baking, screech. Don't clap in the sea, air track and pee, I'm master love, but fiend deep, I'm switching my game, take passion, see, even with my shot, no line to see.